any other ways you would like to identify?
My birth date is January 23rd, 1960. I am Asian, Japanese American, third generation. And was there anything else?
Oh, yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about your occupation?
Oh, okay. Did you want the background first or just?
Yeah,
Oh,
just
my occupation is preschool director.
yeah. And how did you end up in that field?
In college, I studied child development. Well, actually, it was a human development degree, but emphasis in child development, and became very interested. I saw a need here at in the Japantown area, and being a part of the Buddhist church, I knew that there were rooms available, and so we kind of partnered up and became part of the preschool at the Betsuin.
Oh, nice. So can you tell me a little bit about your family background? You said you're
Yes.
third generation.
Yeah, I'm third generation. So my maternal grandparents, the Kodamas, they came from Hiroshima and they settled with their family in Southern California. Actually, they raised their family there. And then my paternal Santo grandparents, they're from Shimane and they raised their family in San Jose, California. Then with the signing of the Executive Order 9066, and along with 120,000 Japanese and Japanese Americans, my mother's family, they were incarcerated at Jerome, Arkansas, and Tule Lake. And then my father's family, they were incarcerated at Heart Mountain, Wyoming. Then after 4 years of incarceration, both families were released and they began to start their lives over in San Jose. My parents, they married in 1959. I have 3 siblings and we were all born and raised in San Jose. I'm married and I have 3 adult daughters. And like myself, my daughters grew up in the San Jose Japantown and continue to be involved as well.
Oh, wow. So are they involved in business or teaching or something?
So we have a family store, Santo Market, and they have always helped out when help was needed, maybe during the busy time for Oshogatsu, the New Year's time. Everyone is there with hands on deck, helping out. And they would also help out with just different things that were needed. And most recently, they are helping with the social media and trying to bring new items to the store that will help spread the word about Santo. And so, yeah, it's been great having them being part of that. They're also part of the church community and the greater Japantown community as well.
So you said it's called Oshokatsu? Is that the new?
Oshokatsu, yeah, New Year's. So we
What
would
do you know
make
what the words mean themselves? Oshokatsu.
Oshokatsu. No, I'm sorry.
I was curious if there was a yeah. So it has to do with New Year. So what kind of
Yes.
festivities do they do, or what kind of activities do y'all get involved in?
Um, they and actually we would all make sushi
Hmm.
for the New Year's. We would make it on the 31st, and families would pick it up and they would serve it on New Year's Day. But also, they were involved with prepping all that, getting it all together, days beforehand. And they also were very, very helpful many years with making mochi. So mochi is the rice cakes that are eaten at New Year's as well. And so we would make many, many, many batches. And so the kids learned how to run the machine with their grandpa and mound them and form them. And then you cool them down in packaging. So they were quite involved. And as much as it was work, they enjoyed doing it. So it was nice.
It's great. How important is that the tradition to you, and do you feel like the kids are also your kids are all wanting to continue that tradition, or?
They are. There have been changes at the store where we're not doing so much of that kind of preparation anymore. So they were rather saddened, but they just had, changes were needed. But we continue to do that at home, so it's been good.
So one of the things that we're interested in too is like the continuity of the family legacy build businesses and buildings, and as there's new, social forces affecting the local community, um, the culture is going to shift and change. And so I'm imagining you could talk a bit about like the sort of social strains that you might feel, or running a business, a family business, and helping with that. How is that? Is there strains, or is that, how are
Um,
you affected by kind of, and how do you see sort of changes happening around the community? Or
hmm.
do you see a kind of rapid change?
I think it's well, the pandemic and COVID really put a change into our business. Um, and the changes were made, and it has been working out well. Whereas before it was more of a store where you can come in and buy Japanese goods, Hawaiian goods, and general groceries. And then with the pandemic, we closed the inside of the store, and we're just basically selling deli items, a few grocery items, and like poke and things like that through our what we call our, we used to have a coffee window, so we're selling things through the coffee window. So that's been a big change. It has, uh, I think, saddened a lot of people because the store used to be a place where they gathered, and
Mm.
you might see friends that you hadn't seen in a long time. So I think a lot of that is missing for a lot of people. But with the social media and the interest in pokey and things like that, just a new generation of customers have been coming in. So, there's been changes, but it's been good.
Hmm. And do you see similar kinds of changes made in other businesses of folks that you know in the block or in the neighborhood? Or are you privy to kind of what's going on with the other folks?
Yes. Let's see. I know they all had to make some changes, but during the pandemic, and but they are persevering and have worked through a lot of those challenges. Um, yeah, I think everyone is pretty much back to operating as they were prior, which
Mhm.
is great.
Cool. And so did you grow up in the neighborhood? Like, what was it like growing up during a time and place of your childhood? Like,
Yes.
what do you think
So
of?
my childhood years were in the 1960s, and I grew up um, a mile from Japantown, and which is also our store is in Japantown as well. So yeah, we just grew up right here. I feel like um, just being that close, it was just really nice. It's just very nice. But so for life for me when as a child, I mean, it was really wonderful. Um, Family was very important. My mom helped out with the PTA, the Parent Teachers Association at school, and both parents were very supportive with our school activities. Church was very important. We attended Sunday school at the San Jose Buddhist Church Betsuin. My parents wanted to expose us to a variety of activities and culture. So we were very fortunate to have so much available to us. Um, so learning about the culture, uh, my sister and I were involved with Japanese language school, and we also studied buyo, which is classical Japanese dance, or dori, and Our sensei, or the instructor, was Madame Bondo Mitsusa, and we had continued that for many, many years. And my brothers were involved with judo at the Betsuin. We were all involved with scouts at the Betsuin. And my father, he was the first cub master, or the pack, excuse me, the cub master for Pack 611. So that was really cool. And we all participated in a San Jose Community Youth Program. And excuse me, it's called the San Jose Community Youth Service, CYS. And this is with a lot of our Japanese American friends. And we got to participate like with tap and ballet, basketball, baseball. And so I'm very grateful that my parents got me involved in the community that they cherished. And they shared the Japanese culture that they had cherished.
That's nice. Do you feel like you had a firm community you felt really connected to? Like, could you talk a little bit more like the relationships that were primary and important to you in the community?
Yes. I feel very well connected to the Betsuin community and the San Jose Japantown community. And both communities feel like home to me. This is where I grew up, and it is still a very important part of my life. I grew up at Santo Market. Santo Market was established in 1946 by my father's uncle. My father worked there in high school, and he was drafted into the military. And upon his return, he worked at Santo Market, and he eventually became the owner. So it's been a family business with my mother doing the bookkeeping. And currently, one of my brothers runs the day-to-day operations. And the three remaining siblings, we have our roles and responsibilities that we do to help maintain the business.
Mm.
And go ahead.
So it's a group effort. So the siblings all kind of pitch in some way
It
or
is.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Has it always been that way? And yeah, did you feel like that was the way it was since childhood?
Um, there have been different times when we had either come back to help or we needed to step up to help. For instance, my mother did the bookkeeping for many, many years. And when it was time for her to give it up, my sister with her background, she was able to come in and fill in that role. I have another brother who does wonderful stuff with maintenance. So he's there to do things, and I'm there to fill in whenever needed.
Were there places you went to as a child in Japantown that you still find yourself frequently going there?
Yes, Kogura Company.
Mm.
This is a place that we used to go to buy this and that, a lot of cool cultural things. And we'd always walk by Roy Station and we'd wave to Mr. Muratsune. And Roy Station is now a coffee shop, so we frequent a lot. And so I grew up with the children of these businesses, and we are all still active with our family businesses. And we all have a strong sense of having our roots in Japantown. So it's really nice.
That's great. So as you were growing up and you were connected to these different community businesses or these like sort of places that were central to people meeting and talking, how would you describe the sort of interactions that you saw as a child, like in the stores or in the Roy station, or did you feel like it was kind of familial or how?
It certainly was. It was. I think a lot of the Japanese and Japanese Americans had a strong sense to be a part of the community, and whether they shopped there, came to either of the churches. Uh, I think we just saw many more then, um, and it was nice. A lot of them just uh, grew up together, whether they were made friendships here or perhaps they came from the same areas in Japan, and they, have formed their they call them kens. And so it's like my grandparents were, my dad's side were from Shimane, so that Shimane ken, there was a strong sense of all of them who have relocated to this area. And so I know they did a lot for the Betsuin. And so it's really neat that a lot of the members from the Shimane ken who were Issei's have donated many of the pieces that are in the Betsuin's altar, the Onaijin. So it's really neat. And I remember coming to Japanese school when we'd have our recesses. I would see my grandpa and the members of the Shimane ken. They were there cleaning the temple. And so they would do it outside, but they would also go into the inside and, polish or clean up the altar area as well. So it was kind of neat to see those different groups. And I know there's a lot of those different groups who had continued to meet, or there were like classes, bonsai classes and shikin, the singing classes. They would all meet here. So now it's all coming back to me because I would see them as I, came to Japantown.
So do you feel like the relationship between the Japantown community and San Jose um, was strong or connected to Japan? Because you mentioned there's the kin sort of connection of families, but how would you describe the relationship between your generation growing up to Japan? How did you think about Japan as a child?
I think that my connection was basically cultural
Mm.
and just to learn the different cultural things, like we did the language or we've done the Japanese dancing, but also learning the traditions and celebrating the holidays. That has been very important and exciting parts of the years. Yes, whether it's New Year's or the Girls' Day, Boys' Day. Um, yeah, so that was nice. My parents would display the Japanese dolls for Girls' Day and um, fly the carp, the koi nobody for Boys' Day, and special. They would bring out special dolls for the Boys' Day as well.
Hmm. And when you were growing up as a kid, did you get news from Japan about family members that you may not have met, but that were in Japan, or did your parents sort of like talk about their family or friends in Japan when you were a
Um,
kid?
when I was young, I do remember family members from Japan coming over to visit, and
Hmm.
so they were like our uncles or my grandma's sisters would come over, and so we got to meet them that way. But I did not personally communicate with them. I think, it was at my grandma's level. And of course, she primarily spoke Japanese, but
Hmm.
would share it with with my mom or my parents. And so I think I'm learning more and more about it now as my mom, when and their sisters get together, they, chat and they share more stories. So it's good, still learning.
Hmm. Would you say that there was a kind of central person who held the community together, or groups of people that held the community together? Because the reason I'm asking is because I noticed that in my community growing up, everybody started off really close, and then over time, because of the forces that be, right, that people ended up moving away from each other, and the neighborhood kind of split up. So my question is, did you feel like there were certain figures in the family that held the core of the family together or the community together?
Mhm.
Like whether it's a matriarch or patriarch or someone.
in my family, I think it was my grandmother, my maternal grandmother, who showed us by way of example that she was involved with the church. She was involved with different groups within the church, as well as she was a ikebana teacher. She taught how to do flower arranging, but she's also shared with us like how to make kimonos and the kimono dressing and things like that. So to me, she was like quietly a figure that we had learned a lot from, and I think was very impactful in her quiet ways. Yes. And in the community, I cannot think of anyone in particular, but it was probably just the organizations, maybe through the church. And I know at Wesley United Methodist as well, they too have community leaders that have, you know, kept the community together, or community leaders, not one per se.
So when your grandmother passed on, did you feel like there were other people that kind of filled in that role or those roles as people passed on and generationally?
Yes, actually, I feel like my mom and her sisters continue to do the oshogatsu, all the New Year's cooking. My mother was really into the odori part because we all participate. Me and my sister participated. So, for her it was like bringing everyone together for Obon Festival, the dance. So after my grandmother passed away, she had made all these hobby coats that were all the same colors with the help of my aunties. So it was her way of bringing us together and keeping this important part of the Obon Festival together for our family, and we continue to do that. So it's been really nice.
That's great. And as you transition into a teenager, did you join a community or group with similar interest, or did you feel like there was a kind of continuing of the same sort of sets of central traditions that you would just take a different role in get older?
Um, let's see. Well, I think overall that transition from the young adulthood um, was pretty natural, and it's like a continuation. But let's see. I think. Okay, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, so can you talk about your teenage years? Did you join a community or group with similar interests?
Okay.
Yeah, and the second part was just kind of like, did you kind of feel yourself switching roles to a more like leadership role in the
I
same
see.
community, or did you sort of branch out into different communities as you became
Right.
a young adult?
So my teenage years, I continued with like Girl Scouts and Sunday school and the odori, the dancing. But I did participate in the Betsuin's high school group called the Junior YBA, the Young Buddhist Association. And actually, it was a time for the friends to gather and you meet new friends. We went to conferences, to church activities, community service activities, and things like that. But it was an opportunity too, also to fill in some leadership roles within that junior YBA. So it was a learning experience to become leaders, and so that was important. Um, in my in my Odori community, we continued to grow there, and it was a good experience learning how to not only dance but the traditions and but the whole aspect of putting on a performance. So we would do the background and um, all the stage props, and we got to do the whole performance, and yeah, it was really neat. So that continued on, and it really felt good to be a part of that.
Did you feel like so by the time you were in your teen years, was it like the late 60s, early 70s? Was there changes happening around y'all that maybe shifted or changed the culture?
At that I I don't recall anything that might have affected any change. Yeah.
Okay. And when you think about that childhood and that youth, and then you think about things now, do you feel like things have changed a lot, or do you think they've stayed the same in many ways? Like, how do you think things have sort of shifted and changed it in terms of the culture, especially around Japantown and your roles there?
I think overall the transition for myself, like from the young adulthood years to now, the transition was pretty easy and smooth because of the foundation that was already in place, and I felt comfortable. So it was, felt good to come back to that community. Um, Let me see. There were years though during college and several years after college where it was kind of a pause, and I kind of did my own things and trying to get settled back into the area and home and friends, and so there was a pause, but yes, but now we're totally back and enjoying the communities.
When I was talking to Rory Fukuda about his childhood, he did mention that middle school and high school, there was a lot of community in those areas, like of his life, like school, and I guess it was baseball games and things like that. Did you feel there was a parallel there with schooling, and that, how would you describe the experience of schooling as a child, like a middle school child, or
My experience in middle school.
yeah, like how was that in terms of the neighborhood and you kind of moving, going to school and then having your community at home, but then also having this school community, like what was that
Mhm.
like for you?
Um, at at middle school, it was that's a big change going to middle school. And
Yeah,
so, yeah, it wasn't that exciting for me. But at school, we did, participate in the different sports programs. And so we're active with things like that after school, or participate with the some of the activities that were happening at school. But I think that was not uh, uh, a highlight during those years for me. I would say that it was nice to still have the communities at the church and the Japantown to participate in. That kind of made balance to my junior high school years.
Hmm. And then was high school similar in that sense?
Um, High school, I think I just grew up a little bit more in high school. So I enjoyed high school. I enjoyed the friendships and just being involved in many activities. I went to San Jose High School, which was a very small school, but it allowed us to try different things. You could go out for sports teams and you'd make it, right? You didn't have to have years and years of experience in a certain sport to make the team. Or,
Mhm.
it was, yeah, just nice to join different clubs. And yeah, it was a very good 4 years.
And do you feel like the school was pretty diverse, or did you feel pretty comfortable as a Japanese American in the school?
I felt very comfortable. San Jose High is a very inner city school, which we had a lot of minority students. And so it was nice that all the groups, the different ethnicities, they all got along and shared our cultural offerings at different events. And so it was real nice.
Yeah, that question kind of came up because there's a lot of cities where the minority groups and they don't get along as well, right? You hear about that.
Mhm.
And I was when I first took the tour of the Japantown with Robert Rucksack, I was asking the question, was there tensions because there was different waves of Asian American, groups and Pacific Islander groups like coming through and sort of living in the area, right? And he said that there really wasn't that much tension between the groups, which I think may or may not be, I'm not sure, but may not be common. I'm not sure what the trend is across, the different sort of Chinatowns and Japantowns and, uh, enclaves. So what was your sense of that, like as of different waves of Asian American groups living in the area? Did you feel like people got along pretty well?
Yes, I do feel that. I don't recall any differences or feelings that like, whoa, there's a big change going on. But no, it just seems like yeah, they wanted to people wanted to partake in things that were happening in Japantown, and of course we were like, welcome that. Yeah, so yeah, I think it's very nice from my
And
perspective.
yeah. And so growing up, did you hear stories about the different waves? And did you hear about, what Japantown was like before when it was more of a Chinese American space? Did you know about that history or?
I did learn about that, not as a child,
Hmm.
uh, probably more so like in college. But yeah, I know my dad would talk about a certain restaurant that he would go to, and this particular cook would make this wonderful Chinese dish. And I can't even remember the name of the restaurant, but it was on 6th Street.
Hmm.
And so, yeah, there were just some vague stories that I would hear from my dad, but not a whole lot. Yeah.
Mhm. Yeah. Um, did you go to Highlandville Park? Was that something you did as a child, or is it a
No,
no?
no. Um, you mean that the area? I
Yeah,
don't believe was it there in the 60s?
I'm
I
not sure exactly that particular history, but I know there was a park there, and now there's housing there.
Oh, yeah, right now there is, yes. And have I gone to the current park?
Oh, in the past was there like parks you like to go to, kind of like in that area, like to
Uh,
play sports or something? Like what were the sort of hangout spots for kids and teenagers, like when they're
in Japantown?
yeah near
Uh,
there in there?
I think it was just at the churches,
Okay, in the
the
church
church.
yards and stuff like that.
Yes. And yeah, I believe the like the youth groups would have their activities at each church. Um, but they would have basketball through the Japanese CYS, San Jose CYS, and those activities were like spread out through the city, different gyms, different fields.
Hmm. And kind of thinking about the whole of your sort of past and your relationship to San Jose Japantown, what does it mean to belong to a community in your perspective? Like, what does that really mean to you to be part of?
Um, right. To me, to belong to a community is like you're coming together with common interests, common goals. It's like a place to feel welcomed, a place where you can grow, learn, experience, and participate, and also to have fun. But I think it also, when you are a part of a community, kind of teaches you to give back, maybe within your community or to other communities. And it's a place where relationships are formed and also partnerships. Yeah, I think that's how I feel about the communities and why it's so important to me.
And what do you think, what do you see yourself as like your role in the community now in this capacity?
Um, Let me see. So have always been involved with the Betsuin community growing up, but also once I finished college, we opened up a preschool
Mhm.
at the church, and it's called Lotus Preschool and started in 1986. Excuse me. So sharing the goodness that I feel from my Betsuin community with the Lotus children and their families has been very heartwarming.
Mm.
The children like attend daily service at the temple with the Rinban Sakamoto or Mikame Sensei.
Mm.
And the families are encouraged to participate in Betsuin activities as well. And a lot of times there are families that come to us who have grown up in the community, but there are families who have not. So it's oftentimes a nice first step into either the Betsuin or the Japantown community. So, excuse me, that's been really good.
Mm.
But I also feel a strong connection to the Japantown community. And personally, my family and I continue to support, the businesses, the causes, and the events.
Mhm.
Excuse me. But my work at Lotus Preschool has been very fortunate to be part of the Japantown community. Over the years, we have had friendships and partnerships with the following organizations, and it's been wonderful.
Mhm.
So, like WWII Senior Day Center, the children would go twice a month, and we have this wonderful collaboration with activities and songs with both the seniors and the children. It's been wonderful. We've collaborated with the Wesley United Methodist Jazz Band for songs that we would sing together for the UIKI seniors. There's been like earthquake preparedness with the Japantown Prepared, and that takes place at Roy Station every October. And our children get to perform our taiko at the San Jose Taiko's Halloween in Japantown. And then we sing our collection of Japanese songs at UIKai's Kato Kai event. And that is a celebration to celebrate the seniors in the community, show our appreciation. And we just love being in Japantown. And for instance, for letter M is a wonderful week that we celebrate where Minato's restaurant invites the children over for a meal. And she talks about the menu and the miso soup and the mizu, the water, everything that starts with M. So it's just a lot of fun. And then we continue and we go to Shuedo Manju, another M word, to eat their manju on the monument, which is across the street on 5th and Jackson. We also get invited to Kogura's company, and they share their Hina Matsuri display and story. And then we also do Grandparents' Day and Hina Matsuri at the Japanese American Museum. And these are a lot of things that we have done in the past, maybe 10 years. But prior to that, we've done collaborations and partnerships with different community groups, and it's been wonderful. Yes.
Wow, that's wonderful. I didn't know that you had such a tight connection to these really sort of central family run businesses that are generational. So what do you think the future of Japantown is based on your experience and your sense of how things like I mentioned earlier, like certain social forces are shaping the environment. And you particularly have experienced a lot of particular connection to different, I guess, institutions there that are very central to the life of the community. So you kind of have this very particular point of view. Like, how do you see the future of Japantown?
Um, I would like to see our Japantown remain as much as possible like it is today, with family-run businesses versus having the well-known retailers come in with their coffee shops or restaurants or stores, and that would really change our historic Japantown. And so I think a lot of us feel the same way. So hopefully we'll be able to maintain and persevere. Um, and I have a good sense with those whose hearts and souls are into persevering and maintaining and looking forward for our future, that they will continue their excellent work and keep us on the right path. I think
Mhm.
for a while, it's nice that there's so many of us um, who have been here for a long time, or families have been here for a long time, or really feel the same. So I'm very hopeful
Mhm.
that there will be changes. Of course, there'll be good changes, but yes, hopefully the integrity of our Japantown will remain the same.
Hmm.
Hoping.
And if you were to sort of list two or three, I guess, elders that you feel like have a really strong role in building community or holding it together or guiding it, who would you think of when you think of like the main sort of community builders in your network of folks from the community? Maybe people that should be sort of recognized or celebrated,
Mm-hmm.
supported.
Um, One that comes to mind right now is Jim Nagaretta. Um, Jim's family has a business here in Japantown as well. Um, Shiseido, that's on the corner of Fifth and Jackson. Um, Jim is involved with so many different projects, and it all comes back to how we can better Japantown, how we can keep together, and how do we bring people in to share what we have here. And so I think he is someone of my generation who's been working hard to keep us together. Trying to think of others. Sorry, there are many. I just can't.
In terms of Jim, I mean, does he have multiple hats that he wears in the community?
He does. He is a business. He has been a business owner himself. Uh, he has most recently been a part of the Japanese American Museum. He
Hmm.
might have been the executive director. Um, he has just released a film with Kerwin Burke that we just showed at the temple annex the other week. It's called Kintsu Kuroi. And so that's about Kintsu Kuroi is like the art of when something is broken, like
Mhm.
maybe a teacup, right? And then you put it back together, and then you would fill in the cracks with gold. So it's
Mhm.
like art again. And so the movie just showed how when lives have been broken through the experiences that the Issei's and nieces had gone through, that they have persevered and they have put their pieces back together and have lived a much better life. And so Jim was instrumental with bringing that movie he also had a small role in it, and he was
Mm.
yeah. So Jim does a lot. He does a lot.
And so in terms of the idea of kintsukuroi, what does that mean for you when you think about your community? Or what are some times you felt like the community had to heal or
Uh,
pull it together?
it when I saw the movie, it was just such a reminder of what my grandparents had gone through.
Mm.
And it just kind of hurts. I mean, it hurts a lot to know that they had that struggle and you know, 4 years of their lives just taken away. And so seeing that, it brought back, you know, very sad feelings. But then um, also on the flip side, knowing how hard they worked to get their lives together and to provide, you know, stuff for my parents and now for us, you know, just very a good sense of gratitude and appreciation for, you know, what they have been through.
Well, has there been discussions about reparations to the families that went through that? Did you heard about?
Yes, there were reparations given back in, I believe, 1980 or 1982,
Mhm.
where the people who were incarcerated received $20,000.
Mhm. And do you feel like the community saw that as enough, or is there a sense that it was just not enough, or how did that play out, you think?
I think, of course, it was not enough. I mean, to take away 4 years of your life is just hard to understand how that could have happened. Um, I think it was sad in that many had passed on already and did not receive that. So I think three of my grandparents did not receive that because they had passed on. So it does not go to the family. But so, you know, they never saw that as an apology and even that token amount. Um, yeah, I believe people felt that, yeah, it was nice to get the apology, but however, you know, $20,000 was nothing.
Yeah. So how do you think that the community could be compensated for such an attack on the community? Like, is there ways that you could see the community being supported that it's not being supported as a compensation for that? Or how do you kind of imagine that? Maybe government helping,
Uh,
making up for it, the past.
I don't know if um, I have not heard of any groups asking for any kind of reparations now,
Mhm.
but I think it is very important that groups like the Nihon Machi Outreach Committee, they continually um, present the Day of Remembrance
Mhm.
that they just had this past weekend. And so it brings people together to educate, to honor, and to remember what had happened during the incarceration and years following. And so it's very nice that others from the different communities come and to learn, and with hope that this could never happen again to any other groups. So if we can keep that part up, I think that would be huge. I don't see the reparations coming, but yeah, just
Yeah.
educate.
Mhm. And I think I already kind of asked you a bit about your childhood. I mean, we talked a bit about it, but I was also wondering, like, what are some of your happiest memories of being a kid in Japantown area? Like, what
Uh,
could you share a little bit about one of the happy days that you had, or a couple of them, just being in the community and
Um, I had a good time going to Japanese language school. I've My really good friend and I, we went to Japanese school for many years. So you think I'd be fluent, but I am not. But I had gone from maybe like first grade all the way through sixth, seventh grade, and it was just a nice time to come together to learn the language and part of the culture. But we would have a grand time during our recesses because we would get to go around Japantown, and there used to be like the drugstores that would sell, candies and snacks and stuff. So that was a fun time. I could remember. Yeah.
Was there diners back then, like burger joints and kind of malt shops or anything like that?
There was um, Fourth Street Pharmacy, which was a little bit further because it was on Fourth and Jackson. It was a little bit too far to go within our 15 minutes, but they they had like a counter where they sold or made sandwiches and probably some soups and stuff like that. So that was kind of nice. But then there were the restaurants, but not so much diners.
What was how important were these like sort of food places that were sort of like more for towards youth and teenagers and middle schoolers? And how important were they to the community? And do you feel
The
like there's
business
that now? Like,
important to us as
uh,
children
yeah,
or as
maybe like as middle schoolers, like or high schoolers, like how important
yes,
these like
yes.
central food places that were kind
Oh,
of fast come
yes.
hang out and then leave and
Okay. Oh, I remember Tom and Mary's was a coffee shop. There's the diner that I grew up with. And now Gombe is there. But they would have a shave ice.
hmm,
They probably called it ice, shave ice, snow cones. They called it snow cones back then.
yeah.
But yes, or ice cream. And I think they had a pinball machine. So I think people or kids like would like to go in there, and we'd have our snacks and treats more at different times, more so than our 15-minute recess from Japanese school. Yeah. So I think they would go there, and I think people would go to the drugstores because I've heard they had really good comic books, and
Hmm.
so I've heard others, yeah, they would congregate there because they like to read the comic books or buy them.
Did you feel like there was some Hawaiian influences to the culture there, or do you see that
Back
connection?
then, back then when I was growing up, no,
Yeah.
but
But now,
more so,
when you
yeah.
look at it, and was your family kind of connected to families that were from Hawaii Islands?
My family, my brother had a friend who helped him with getting some recipes like a poke recipe.
Mm-hmm.
Um, my parents had gone to Hawaii to vacation, and they brought back this wonderful, what we call it, strawberry mochi. And
Mm-hmm.
so we now make it this at the store. Um, but
It
my
has a
dad just liked,
reputation.
what's that?
Has a reputation. There's
Yep.
people that really just they fetishize this stuff. I don't
Yes,
know.
yes. But my dad was really good about just trying different things. So, in terms of Hawaiian things, he would make like lau.
Mhm.
And so that was quite impressive. And, I enjoyed it, but I saw his recipe recently, but it was like I should really have learned how to make it from him because that was a really good Hawaiian thing. And we've always had like a business connection in Hawaii because that's where they would get the kamaboko, the rice cake, fish cake, the fish cake, and different items like that would come from Hawaii. And so then they would also send poi over, and sometimes tea leaves. So I don't know for how long we've been doing that, but it was quite a while that the store had provided that to the customers.
And what's your relationship to the Roy Station? do you go there or do you have friends there?
Um, so the preschool is like 2 buildings away. And so we are there a lot. So we enjoy Roy Station. Um, Roy Station, I've grown up with um, Carol, who's my age, and her daughter Jasmine is running Roy Station, as well as the siblings are there as has their hands in helping out the business as well. But so yeah, we and Carol and I are good friends, and so that's our relationship. Not related, but just have grown up together. We dance together in CYS tap and ballet.
Oh, as children.
Yes, yes,
Wow, that's cool.
as well as Kogura Company. You know, the daughter who is running the store now. Yeah, danced with her, played basketball at Sunday school and YBA, and yeah.
And what do you know about Nijia grocery store? Is that something that popped up when you were a child, or was it already there?
Dobashi's market was there for many, many, many years. And then when they retired, Nijiya came in. And I think it's not a family-based store, but it's just like
Mhm.
a chain from Japan.
Oh, okay. And were the Washis a family that you knew about as
Or
your parents?
Dobashi, the Dobashi.
Oh, Dobashi.
Yes,
Were they a
yes.
family that your family knew about?
Oh, yes, yes. And even though we had the same types of businesses, um, I know my dad would talk to the Dobashis about this and that, prices or where to get this and that, and they'd help each other. And they
Okay.
they lived right in the neighborhood too.
Wow. And do you remember kind of what year it was that they finally retired, or what
Um,
generally?
2000-ish,
Oh, okay. Oh.
maybe a
So,
little bit later.
hmm. So the Nijiya
Yes.
market's been there for a while then.
Or yes, yes.
And did you have family members that went to the military service at all?
My father was drafted after after they came back from camp. He went to San Jose High, maybe for 3, 4 years, maybe 4 years, and then was drafted. And my uncles too.
Hmm. And then when he returned, did he just continue back with the businesses, the business
Um,
work?
he did. He took a few classes, business classes at San Jose State, um, but and I think night classes too, some business night classes. But he did go back to the store and he worked there.
And did he seem to I don't know, did he seem to thrive in that work? Did he
He
enjoy it?
did. He enjoyed the customers coming in. He enjoyed working with the sales people, and he trained a lot of young workers how to work. It's oftentimes their first job. And so, yeah, he was really patient with that. And he really taught me and showed me how he gave back to the community. And,
Mhm.
I just grew up seeing this, but you don't really think about it till you're older. But he would help out community groups by gathering their items that they needed, instead of having that group go out and buy all this different stuff. So he would help gather things. He would give them discounts. He would do special orders for like turkeys for the golf clubs for every Thanksgiving. So he did that for many, many years. He would deliver things to the churches, to, the different organizations. Instead of having them pick it up, he would deliver. And what he was, I think he really enjoyed doing was bringing the ice cream cups from the store to our Obon festival at the right moment when the dancing stopped, so that they could pass out all these little ice cream cups to the participants. So he did that for many, many, many years. And I think he enjoyed it. That was his contribution to the Obon, even though the church paid for the ice cream cups. That was his job. But I think he liked helping out, ways like that.
Do you feel like that's a trend in the community?
To give back.
Yeah, to have a certain certain contribution that just sort of captures that spirit. Like, for example, I was interviewing or actually just talking to someone about the community and the Ras family, and I know like there's at least 2 or 3 Ras family members that will sweep the whole street and cover up any graffiti, and that to me sort of stood out. And I was like, well, this sounds very similar, and I'm wondering if you see a trend where there's sort of this contribution that people kind of take control of and do it themselves, take initiative.
And we are so appreciative of the Ras because they just give and give and give and keep doing for the betterment of everyone.
Mm.
And there are others who will go out and help, but they are like at the top. They're at the top level who just continue to do so much. I think the different groups and the different businesses, with they will try their best to try to, help out
Yeah.
in different ways with the community or with the churches or events. Yes.
Yeah, it seems like people find their niche or their
Mm-hmm.
way that they can contribute and enjoy it, which seems to
Mm-hmm.
be ideal in many ways. Do you feel like I don't know, do you feel like Japantown, San Jose is unique, or do you know of other communities like this, or do you feel like it's unique?
Um, yes, I think in comparison to the 2 other remaining Japan towns, ours is it's much smaller than the San Francisco and Los Angeles, but I think ours is unique in that it's because it's smaller, a lot
Mhm.
of generational stores are still here, or stores that have been in business for 20, 30 years, maybe not as long as ours, but they have been the cement of the Japantown community. And so there's that cohesion. And yeah, I think it's really good. I think ours is very unique compared to the others, and I hope it stays. But
Mhm.
who knows? But we just hope for the future that yes, we will continue.
All right. Thank you so much for answering all these questions and giving me so much to think about, giving us, so much to think about. Um, is there any questions you have, or actually, should I say, is there anything you would like to say that we didn't cover that you feel like is important for this set of sort of interests in like community change and continuity? Is there something that you feel like you want to share that we didn't cover?
Um, I don't think so, but I think I'm just very appreciative to you as a professor, but also sharing this with your students.
Mhm.
And when you do that, that will maybe not spark everyone to be part of their community and help
Mhm.
out. But, if you get a handful out of each of your classes each year, I mean, that is like amazing. So, yes, I'm very appreciative to what you are doing.
Oh, thank